Hello mates, welcome to Full Stack Java Developer. I am Kiran Jadhav here. In this session, I will teach you here at the rate transient in Hibernate. See what is this of at the rate transient annotation in Hibernate. At the rate transient annotation, it helps us to avoid the persistence. It means any variable field. If you annotate with at the rate transient, then this field variable data, we are not going to persist data into database. This field variable we are just going to use for UI layer, actually user interface. Then in this session we'll come up with a practical scenario where I'm going to create the employee management application, and we have available like field like ID, name, salary, tax, and one more field available net salary. Then this net salary we are not going to persist into database, we are just going to show on UI, like after tax deduction we are going to show the net salary. Then this net salary field we'll propose to use at the rate transient annotation. Then see, we'll start with the implementation. Simply come up with the Eclipse, file, new, dynamic project. I'm giving the application name as transient annotation example. See, our application is created successfully. Then simply come up with the src main web.inf lib folder. The jar file we required. The jar file I will copy from existing any application. Simply come up with the src main web.inf lib folder. I will copy though from my local, but you can simply copy it from our GitHub. GitHub URL I will add in YouTube video description box. Then see, we are going to paste the jar file within lib folder. Once it's done, the next is simply come up with the Java resource. There is available src main Java. I'm going to create new package. The package name I'm giving here, this is com.fullstack.jpa. Now simply right click on that JPA package, new Java class I am going to create. This is employee project class I am going to create here. Next Java class we require the service class, and you can simply consider service is our main class. New Java class I am giving here service. This is main class, that's why I am writing here which method? Main method. Then we require the configuration file. Then simply right click on src main Java, new, go ahead with the other, and this is XML file. The file name I am giving here hibernate.cfg.xml. Then see, our cfg file is created successfully. Then cfg content we required, I will add the content from my existing any application. You can simply copy it from our GitHub. Then once we have added the cfg content as per our business requirement, we need to do changes as per database. I am giving hrm as a database name. Then Hibernate will take care of create the table, that's why hibernate.hbm to detail.atto, this property I am giving here create. And next, the entity like mapping class we are giving here com.fullstack.jp.employee. Perfect. Then we'll simply come up with the database side like SQLoc, create the database as HRM, next use it and show tables. There is no any single table. Who is responsible to create the table? Hibernate is Hibernate, it will take care of create the table as well. You not need to worry about that. Fine. Now simply come up with the here and we'll start with the implementation. Annotate with at the rate, entity annotation here, at the rate table, and table we are expecting here table name as employee. Now I am using here at id, it means this is primary key, at generated value it means this will be auto increment, and strategy we are going to specify here identity. If it's not coming, you not need to worry about that. You can simply type here private int emp have id, and then again you can simply come back to here, do control space, it will come 100% sure. The generation type identity we are giving because we are using MySQL. Next field I am using private. This will be string. EMP have name. Next private. This will be double. EMP have salary we are using here. Next private. This will be int. We are giving tax. And the next field we are using private. This will be double. You can simply say net salary. And this net salary we are not going to persist into database. That's why we are using here which annotation? At the rate transient. This is very commonly asked into question nowadays. What is the use of at the rate transient? You can simply say once you are using variable with at the rate transient annotation, then this field data not goes to insert into database. In simple language, you can simply say at the rate transient, it will avoid the persistence. Okay. Then this net salary we are just going to use for UI perspective, user interface perspective. Now here we are not using UI, but I will show the data in Java console. Fine. Whenever we are going to save data, we are not going to pass the net salary, but whenever we are trying to show on our console, that time we have available net salary on fly. Okay, perfect. Then here I am creating the default constructor. Next we require the parameters constructor. Simply go to source, generate constructor using fields. I will remove the ID. Net salary also we are not going to persist. That's why I'm going to remove the net salary as well. And we require the getter setters. Go to source, generate getter setters. See here, select all. But net salary we are not going to set it, right? Then remove the setter from here. It's not required at all. If you are passing that also fine. Then simply click on generate. We require the toString method. Go to source, generate toString method. See, this is the toString method we are using, right? Yes. And here get like get net salary we required. Fine. Then I am using here get net salary, and from here we are not going to fill pass the net salary because we are going to on fly. We are using net salary. We are trying to print on Java console a user interface. That's why I'm using here getter actually. Okay. And field level I'm not using net salary because in get net salary we are going to implement the logic like salary minus tax. Then basic salary minus tax, it means it will be our net salary. That's why I'm using here getter actually. Fine. Yes. Then simply click on generate. See one screen. Perfect. Then now we are come up with the our service class, and there I'm just using private. This will be, you can simply consider static session factory. Session factory is the second level cache. This is the interface coming from ORC Hibernate. And once you create session factory, it will be available for whole applications. Now I'm giving new configuration dot configure dot build session factory. Then now we are going to create here function. The first function I will create here by static void, because we are not going to create the object as well, right? Static void save. And there I am using session. Session is a first level cache coming from org.hibernate. Session is an interface, and for each transaction we require the new session. Session equal to factory.open session. We require to insert data into database. That's why we require the transaction as well. Then see, transaction also interface coming from org Hibernate. Transaction equal to session.begin transaction. And then we are going to create the employee class object. Employee equal to new employee. Then simply pass here employee name as I'm passing here Sora. Then employee salary I'm passing 97,000.96, and here I am passing tax as 9 int value ending with semicolon. Then this data we are going to save on session. Then here I am passing employee. Either you can use session.save or update, otherwise persist. Fine. Yes. And then do the transaction.commit. It means it will insert data into database. Perfect. Now this function you can simply call within main method. See, here is it. Now simply try run a Java application. We are expecting it goes to create the table and data goes to insert into table like employee table itself. Then see one screen. See, without any issue, table is created successfully. And in table, how many fields they have created, you can simply check those are the field created, right? Yes. Then see, here insert into happens, and how many value inserted? 3 value inserted. EMP name, EMP salary, tax. ID will be auto increment, but net salary is not inserted. Why? Because we use @transient annotation to avoid the persistence. Then we are very excited to see data in database. First we'll say show tables. Table is created by Hibernate. So let's start from employee. There is available ID, name, salary, and tax, but there is not available net salary column. See one screen. Perfect. Great. Now we'll simply come back to here. I will comment out the save function. And one more thing, instead of create you can simply give your update. If you are giving create, it will create the new table again. Fine. Yeah, that's why I'm giving here update. Now we are just going to write here method. You can simply say static void find by id, and there I am passing integer type of emp id as the input parameter. Then whenever we are going to select find by id, then we require their id, name, then salary, tax, and net salary as well, right? Yes. Then we are using here session is a first level cache. For each transaction we require the new session equal to factory.open session. Here we are not going to do any manipulation, that's why we don't require the transaction as well. Now I'm simply passing here employee equal to session dot, you can simply say get. Then definitely next session we'll go to the session.get versus session.load in Hibernate practical approach. Fine? Yes. Get it means we are going to fetch the data. Load also we are going to fetch the data. But practical scenario we'll see in next session. Now I'm passing here. This will be employee dot class, you can simply say, and this will be ID. EMP ID as the input parameter. Now I'm just going to use here printing statement, and we're trying to print this object as it is. Control A, Control I, Control Shift F. Perfect. See, Control A, Control I, Control Shift F. It will format the code base. Now we are calling which method here? Find by ID. I want to fetch the data for first number record. Here is the implementation available to fetch the data, right? Yes. By using get method, we are able to fetch the data here. Next session we'll go to the session.get versus session.load in practical approach. Fine. Yes. Now I'm just giving here session.get. If data is not available corresponding entity, right, employee, it will return the null. Okay. And in case of object, it will throw the object not found exception. Perfect. Now what we are expecting here, we are calling find by ID. It means it will fetch the data, and definitely in employee here we have used at the transient, right? Data is not available in database for netSalary. See one screen. But once we are using here, like this is getter, we are going to implement, right? Get netSalary. Then here the logic we are going to implement. You can simply say emp salary minus tax. Then whatever employee salary available in database like 97,000 0.96, right? We are going to minus the tax as well from there, correct? Yes, whatever logic you want to implement, you can simply implement here. Actually you have freedom. Okay, I just want to say, like, once you are using at the transient, the corresponding field column is not available in database, but till one fly you are able to use it, right? And in toString method we use here getter actually. Fine. Now we are trying to run as Java application here. Simply do run as Java application. See one screen. We are expecting there ID, name, salary, tax, and net salary as well. See, here is it. Perfect. See one screen. Data available there. Whatever like we are expecting, data available there directly, right? Yes. See here, like net salary data available there. That's why like we are going to say the net salary available there. If you want to print such a way, okay, we'll simply come back to here, and I want to say instead of get net salary, we'll say this will be net salary. Like other fields also available there, right? Logic you can implement as per your business requirement. Fine. Yes. See one screen. See, like ID available, name available, salary also available, tax also available, net salary also available there. Correct? Great. Then see such a way like we implemented here. This is at the transient in Hibernate. Like transient, it will help us to avoid the persistence. In theory context, we'll see one more time here. Like either transient annotation is used to indicate that a field should not be persisted in the database. Hibernate will ignore this field when performing any save or update the operations, right? Then real-time use case, like in this scenario, we have taken like if you want to like store basic employee information like ID, name, salary, and tax, right? But you also want to display the net salary after deductions without saving in the database. For that perspective, we have taken care of this example as well, right? Yeah, and in this example, net salary is calculated dynamically. It means on fly at runtime. You don't want to store this value in the database, so you can annotate it with address transient to exclude it from persistence layer. And such a like number of use cases are available. Suppose you want to calculate the age, then you have available input as date of birth, right? Age you are not going to persist into database, but using date of birth you are able to calculate the age on fly. Again, next, like any temporary UI fields, if you want to go ahead with such a way, then you can simply use at the rate transient, because it will not go to persist data into database, and this data we are able to use for UI layer. It means temporary UI fields that should not affect the database schema as well. Then such a way we're done with at the rate transient and Hibernate. Then at the rate transient, if they're asking questions in single line, you can simply say once we are using at the rate transient in Hibernate, it will help us to avoid the persistence. Fine. Like this field variable data, it not goes to save into database. Then thanks for watching this video. Please do like, share, subscribe this channel to get more updates, and see you in next video.